Hi everyone, my name is Andrea Tarpey and I'm the coordinator of student activities, and I want to take this moment to thank you all for coming for the to hear the top 10 tools for success at STCC. This is the first of our coffee chat series, and I hope that you enjoy the great tips that our presenters have to offer, and I hope that you come to many of our events that I'll share with you that are upcoming soon. I would like to thank Professor Diane Sabato and librarian Chelsea Contrada for presenting and taking the time out to offer you these great tips. And welcome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Diane Sabato, and I am going to share my screen with you so that we can view our presentation. We're going to talk today about the top 10 tips for student success from my point of view as a professor, from Chelsea Contrada's point of view as a library support staff. And then at the end of the presentation, we're actually going to share the tips that you all filled in when you registered for this event. Again, we're delighted that you're here today, and let's get rolling. I'm a faculty in the business department, and one thing that is the most important tool for success across the board is to ask for help. When you have any kind of questions, big or small, whether it relates to your academics, your schoolwork, your coursework, or anything that you need to help you succeed in getting through your courses at STCC, please be sure to ask for help when you're stuck on anything in class and out of class. We expect there are going to be challenges both for students and for us, particularly in the challenging times that we're in and dealing with our fully online life this semester. Know that you are almost never the only person with a problem or question. And by asking, you can help not only yourself, but others with the same kind of questions. As faculty, that's our job. Our job is to help you succeed academically, to get through your courses in your program of study at STCC. And I absolutely love it when students ask me questions. That means that they're working on their classes, they're trying to achieve their goals, they're getting through the material, and understand that we are never bothered when you ask questions. I often have students apologize because they email me or they're trying to get in touch with me. There is no apology necessary. I am delighted when students ask for help, as I know other faculty at STCC are as well. It's really critical that you do not wait to ask for help. I am so sad when students will wait to the very end of a semester and then let me know that they had some kind of a major problem or challenge that got in their way throughout the semester. If you ask early, we can help make accommodations or adapt the work as we need to help get you through the course. It is critical that you check your STCC email every day. It's the primary way that we now are communicating with our students, particularly with online classes. All of the course announcements and any information will come through your STCC email account, and the college uses it as the primary tool to communicate with you all. So again, make sure you ask for help immediately when you need it. Don't wait. Find someone you're comfortable with to ask help of, and it'll help you succeed. Another really important thing for you all to do is to create a study space. And when you have a study space, it doesn't have to be big. It's just a space that's your own, that when you go to this spot, it's to study. It's to work on your schoolwork, to read, do your assignments, do your research, clear the decks, get the clutter off your work surface, and it will help you eliminate the distractions and allow you to focus on what you need to get done. When it's time for you to be working on your schoolwork, that is really all you should be doing, is working on your schoolwork. Put your phone in another location if you can. If you absolutely have to have it near you, turn off notifications so that, again, you're eliminating the distractions and you're able to focus on what you need to get done. I often think that I'm good at multitasking, but that's a complete and total myth. It basically means that I'm just not paying enough attention to all the things I'm trying to get done. So again, create a space, eliminate distractions, and just do your work in that space. The third tip that I have and it's really important, is to make a plan. You have goals in attending STCC, the reason that you are there. So make your plan and then set weekly goals for you to take steps in order for you to achieve what your goals are. So you might have some big, hairy, audacious goal, but to implement that, you need a plan to make it happen. Weekly goals will not only get you through your coursework, but having a larger plan will also get you through to completion of your degree, on to transfer into the workforce, and then check off as you go so that you can see the progress that you are making towards achieving your goals. For me, I use an electronic calendar to plan my day and the work and the things that I need to get done. And I fill in all my absolute required time that I need to be doing something at a certain time. And then I fill in my list of critical and important tasks that I need to accomplish. What I've learned over the years is that I always tried to make to-do lists, but for me, that's not what works. I find that if it's not on my electronic calendar, and I do use alarms, then it just doesn't get done. So find something that works for you to set your goals, write them down, keep them in front of you and in top of mind, and then make steps on a weekly basis to achieve what you need to get done, both for your academic goals at STCC and for the coursework and the things you need to get done in each of your classes. And to that end, it's really important to manage your time. No matter how hard we try to make there be more time, there are only 24 hours in every day. We can't add more. There's only 7 days in every week. We can't add more. We end up scheduling so many things that it looks as though there needs to be about 48 hours in every day. So in my classes, I try to have students fill out a time management schedule, which is what you're seeing on the left-hand side. You could just do a handwritten, and I'm holding it up in front of me. I just, on this one, filled it out by hand, and you can cross it out, you can fill it in. But start by saying, what are the things I absolutely have to schedule and get done? And it should be sleep, it should be eating, your family time, your work schedule, anything you absolutely have to attend to every single week, and then see what you have left as far as scheduling in your study time. On the right, I just picked a week out of my own calendar, and you'll see I put in things like dinner with family to make sure that something that I cared about that was important that I did was actually scheduled. For myself, I found a to-do list almost didn't make me complete things. If I put it on my calendar, it was sure to get done. So I use a calendar that I can access online on my phone. Everybody that has a smartphone has a calendar app built in. Use that, or just use a physical schedule. And Andrea will include a copy of the blank time management schedule to send out. And then just include every single thing in your life. What you will learn is that in general, you have less time than you think you do. For taking a 3-credit class, there's kind of a formula. And if you're in a 3-credit class, it generally means 3 lecture hours if you're in person. But for every hour of in class, you should be doing at least 2 hours of reading, studying, and assignments outside of class time. So for every 3-credit class, 6 hours minimum of study time. If you take that 6 and multiply it times 2 or 3 or 4 classes, it really adds up. And when you go to put it in a schedule, you'll see that you need to manage your time efficiently as possible. There's a phrase, and it's called, I put it in parentheses, called chunking your work. Multitasking is basically a myth. I used to think I was such a good multitasker. I could spin plates and sing, dance, and do 8,000 things at one time. But what it really meant was that I basically wasn't paying enough attention to all of the things that I was doing. So a way to stay fresh and focused on what you need to have happen, chunking your work means doing your work one thing at a time in 20 to 30 minute chunks of time. So if you start with your intro to entrepreneurship class, and then you move to your English class, and then to your math class, and then you spend 20 minutes on something that you need to get done at home. Studies have proven that you're much more efficient and effective if you do things in focused, shorter periods of time than if you try and do them at once. So I can almost always tell when students have done their homework while doing other things. There just isn't the same focus on it. I can also see it in my own work. If I'm trying to do something over here on the side or read my text on my phone, if I were reading my text on the phone while I was on this presentation, I think you'd be able to tell. So chunking your time. This is actually one of my favorite times of the year. This is a photo from an STCC graduation. And I think it's really important, especially when you're feeling like you will never get through, things are so challenging and so hard, that you will get to where you want to go, that you're in school as part of your goals for yourself and your family and your life and to achieve something. So every once in a while, remember to go back to the big picture, and this is the prize at the end. This is why you're here and why you're in school. This is what your dreams are, and you will get there, and you will be one of the happy graduates. Hopefully, it will be at the downtown center as opposed to online, but we will get there. This all will end too. Self-care, it's really important, and you've heard this 1,000,001 times, to take care of yourself. Remember to eat, stay hydrated, exercise when you can. So if you choose to do the chunking of time strategy, when your 20 or 30 minutes are up, and you could even set a little timer, get up, stretch, run around the room, run up and down the stairs, whatever you could do in between your sessions, get a little bit of exercise in, maybe do 30-minute chunk of time and go for a 10-minute walk. And then another thing that seems really corny, but I've done it in my entrepreneurship classes, I have my students complete, there's a survey online, Andrea will share the link. It's called the Via Me Character Strengths. And what it does is it helps you, if you take a survey that's free, and it helps you identify what you are good at, what your character strengths are. I think our whole educational system spends so much time focusing on what you do wrong to correct it, that we oftentimes don't give attention to what we're good at. And if you know what you're good at and you can play to your strengths, then research shows that it'll help improve your relationships, it'll enhance your well-being overall, it'll build your resilience, and it strengthens your ability to overcome things. So it's all part of self-care. There used to be a Saturday Night Live skit 1,000,001 years ago when I was watching it, where it's Stuart Smalley's self-affirmation. But basically, he would look in the mirror and tell himself how good he was in the things he was good at. It was really funny, and it seems incredibly corny to do, but if you just affirm what you're good at and pay as much attention to that as you do what you need to fix, it will help your well-being in the long run. And remember, nobody is perfect. You have to just do the best that you can do, especially given the circumstances that we're in. We're being faced with our usual stressors on top of one of the biggest stressful situations I think that any of us have had to deal with during this pandemic. And don't beat yourself up. Do the best that you can, and that's the best that everybody can do. I think on top of this, when you're trying to succeed at school, I think it's important for you to know as students what kind of a learner you are. Are you an auditory learner, a visual learner, kinesthetic? There's different learning styles. Do you learn best by hearing things, by writing them down, by seeing a graphic or a map or some type of visual, maybe a video? There are 2 assessment tools online, also free, that Andrea can share the links. I sent them to her. And you can go on there and it'll not only tell you what kind of learner you are, but the one site, it's educationplanner.org, will also help you figure out how to use your style to change the way that you study. When I was coming up in school, no one ever told us how to study. I wasn't really sure what to do, and I didn't know what kind of a learner I was. Over the years, I eventually learned to take notes on things. And that was just how it worked for me. I was copying the information one more time so I remembered it better because I wrote it down. So I'm a reader and a writer, but I've had students who really get it when I show them a visual. So just pay attention to what kind of learner you are. And then also, don't beat yourself up about anything. You're in there trying and doing the best that you can, given all the tools that you have. This is actually a picture of some of the STCC students and student leaders when they went to a Boston Red Sox game. And the reason I put this here, I've actually had several of these students in class, which is kind of fun. But if you participate in the life of the college by just signing up for something, go to an activity, join a club, and be a part of student government. And I believe we have our student body president on this call. But participate. You will find that it adds value that you never even expected, or it'll help you in ways that you just don't understand at this time. But after, you're like, I'm so glad I signed up, or I went to this. In our department, we've run a women's mentoring group every semester for about 7 or 8 years now with the Professional Women's Chamber. And students come in a little bit nervous. They're not sure if they should be signing up for this or what it really is. And by the end, it's rounded out the value to their entire education. They've made connections both with students and with mentors, and it's a fantastic experience. When I was in school, I went primarily at night because I was working and had kids and crazy life. And I had 2 or 3 other females in a tech program, which there are very few of us in the IT program. And so we would meet for dinner before our night class. And it turned into friendships and study group. And then when we went to take certification exams afterwards, those are the people that I formed kind of a really long-lasting relationship that was really nice. And Andrea will be telling you more about the many ways that you can participate in the life of the college. You will learn about them when you're checking your STCC email daily or weekly. And one of the most important things that you need to do is just breathe. It is so easy to get caught up in the stress and the chaos of what we are all dealing with in our lives. I've been there many times. It still happens to me now, especially in these first 2 weeks of the semester, that you just start winding yourself up. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, you feel like you're out of control. Just pause, breathe, and move on. But just stop, breathe. Breathe in some deep breaths, breathe out some deep breaths, and then go on to the next. So those are my top 10 tips. And I am going to be passing the presentation over to Chelsea Contrada, who will be taking the next section. Got to unmute, Chelsea.
Sorry, I live on a busy street, so I try to keep muted so you don't have to hear the traffic going by.
Yeah.
So I've got some tips as well, and you will definitely see some overlap between mine and Professor Sabato's, but that's just because we want to really emphasize those points. So my number 1 is also always ask. You don't have to figure everything out by yourself. You don't have to be on your own. And you're not bothering people when you ask questions. We're here because of you, and we're here for you. So we want to help you with whatever it is you're going through on campus. Don't be afraid to ask us questions. It's literally our job to answer them. Number 2, learn what works for you. So a lot of different professors and your classmates and whoever are going to try to give you all of these different methods you need to use to study, whether it's copying your notes or making flashcards. And you really just need to figure out what works for you. There's no best way. The best way is the way that you use and that works for you. So I'm a local to Western Mass. I grew up in West Springfield. And when I was in school, we had to have these 3-ring binders all divided, and we had to use these special agendas. We would have like binder checks randomly and to make sure that we were organized. And so I grew up thinking that I wasn't organized because those binders didn't work for me. That wasn't the way I wanted to organize my work and my information. It wasn't until I got to college and I had the freedom to do whatever I wanted, that I really found systems that work for me. So you don't have to follow, what everybody's telling you to do. You need to find out what's best for you. 3 is find time to relax. So I know that we're working and we're going to school. Some of us have kids and families that we're taking care of. So it might feel like you don't have any time for yourself, but it's very important that you find time, even if it's just 5 minutes. In the morning, I take the elevator up to my office. I'm only on the 2nd floor, so I don't need to take the elevator, but I do it because it's my last couple of minutes to take a deep breath and have some quiet before I get into the craziness of the day. So even if it's just like, you go into the bathroom in the morning to brush your teeth, just take like an extra minute and do some breathing. Take some time for yourself. It's just so important that you find time to do that. Now, this one is obviously biased because I work in the library, but the library is such a valuable resource on campus. We do more than research. We have more than books. We are a great starting point. I tell people that the library is a great place to go when you don't know where to go. And if you're looking for a particular resource on campus, or you need to find a professor's office or phone number, you can come to the library and we will get you that information. But we do the research, and we do have books, and we do have online databases for you to use. So if you're writing a research paper and you need sources, come to the library. You need help citing those sources, come to the library. Just don't be afraid to come to us. And I know we're physically not open this semester, but we're even more accessible than ever because you can call us, you can text us, you can chat, and you can email. We're open every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and then we're also available on Saturdays from 10 to 2. So definitely, I know that Professor Sabato can back me up here that the library is a really great resource.
Yes, I use it in every semester. I try and bring my students there to learn more about conducting research. But when I assign anything that involves any kind of research, that's my recommendation is always go to the library first. That's what the research librarians are there for. I include a link to there are business pages set up just for business students that covers the topics and areas that our students will use. So it's a library resource page. And there are various pages by department.
Get your money's worth. This is really important. Your tuition pays for more than just your classes. And you've probably noticed that, tuition's the easy part. There's all kinds of fees that you have to pay too. Those are paying for the hundreds of services on campus that are available to you. And I know that everybody loves to say like, oh, go to this department, they do this and it's free. And it is free, but you've already paid for it. So you may as well use it. There's places like the Center for Access Services, there's tutoring, there's the Career Development Center, student activities. All of those exist, because of the funding that we get through students' tuition. And we have these programs and resources to help you outside of the classroom. So, you definitely want to take advantage of those. The other piece of this is go to class, just go. You paid for it. Get your money's worth. Why would you want to waste your money by skipping class? So, even if you got a scholarship and you're not actually financially paying for school, you're still paying with your time and your energy. So put that time and energy to good use and take advantage of all the services that are available to you. And related, you can also save some money on campus. There's a couple different ways you can do that. Number one, scholarships. So the campus itself offers a couple unique scholarships, and then there are thousands of scholarships available outside of STCC. The library website has a great page that lists all different types of scholarship resources. You can go and apply, and it will also, the same page will guide you through how to apply for those, and what are like some of the best practices when you are applying for scholarships, whether they're on or off campus. Another way that you can save money is through taking classes with reduced costs textbooks. We have 60 classes on campus that either don't require a textbook or the textbook is free. And again, that's available on the library's website, which you will get a link to. And in addition to those classes, we also have a number of courses that have a book that's $50 or less. So, you know, it's disappointing that students have to consider these things when picking their classes. I would hate for you to choose a class only based on the cost of the materials, but we have to be realistic, right? So if it's a required class, you have to take it anyway. Why not take it with the professor who has a free textbook to save you some money each semester? Get involved. Professor Sabato said this, and I can't emphasize it enough. Again, time is short and it's valuable, but if you can find a way to get involved on campus, it will absolutely pay off. There are clubs, there are organizations, even just going to events like this, you know, they'll be all virtual this semester, but typically they're in person. There's student activities has amazing events going on. The multicultural affairs office has some great speakers coming this semester. You know, just attend, and it's a great opportunity to meet people. When I was at HCC, I was on the student newspaper staff, and some of my closest friends are people that I met doing that work. I'm still in touch with the faculty advisor I had doing that work, and we've become good friends. So it's a really great way to meet people and find out more about the campus.
And this picture is actually of one of the STCC theater productions.
Yeah, they're great. Prioritize your health. So just remember that no class that you take is worth a mental breakdown. You know what you need to do, you need to get it done, but you need to also make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You need to eat well, exercise, drink your water, focus on your physical health, but also your mental health. And find out what works for you. You know, I'm not saying that everybody should go run a mile. You know, you need to do whatever you can do. And Professor Sabato talked about this, you know, get up every 20 minutes and just walk up and down the stairs a couple times, or stretch, or, you know, do something to get yourself moving. And if you're not really sure, you know, what your physical activity should be, like what works for you, you can always talk to your doctor. Your doctor's a great resource to find out, you know, alternative ways of exercising and making sure that you are prioritizing your health.
And STCC does have a health and wellness center as well that could help you.
And they are awesome. So keep that in mind. All right, the next one is, it's okay to not know what you're doing. So spoiler alert, nobody knows what they're doing. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, it's not, there's so much pressure, especially on young people, to know exactly what they want and where they want to be. And I think that it's weird that we have those expectations for anybody, because everybody's life changes and your mind changes. So, you know, find out what you love and what you're passionate about and follow that path. But it's okay if you don't know. I changed my college major at least 4 times. And, you know, I have like varying degrees that and none of them have anything to do with each other. When I was, you know, 18 to 22 and I was doing my undergraduate degree, I had never even thought of law school. It never would have crossed my mind. And here I am in my 30s going back to school to get a law degree. So you never know what is going to happen. You never know what your interests are going to be in the future. And that's okay. So try to take some of the pressure off of yourself to know exactly what you want. And then lastly, this is so important. Don't procrastinate. It sometimes seems like it's a good idea, but the time I could have saved and stress that I could have prevented if I had just gotten things done. Some people are good at procrastination. I was good at it for a really long time. I used to write my papers at midnight the night before they were due and still get an A. And I don't do that. Don't do it. Even if you can, just don't, because eventually waiting the last minute to get things done is going to wear you out. You're going to get burnt out. The feeling of getting things done early or on time far outweighs the feeling of staying up all night and drinking a bunch of caffeine, and, adrenaline fatigue that eventually will happen from procrastinating all the time. So, find the habits that work for you and just try to get things done ahead of time. It's going to feel so much better.
And I'll add that we're in school to learn things, not to finish assignments and exams. So when you procrastinate, you're ticking things off, but you're not necessarily learning to understand. And that's really the goal of all of the classes you're taking, so that you want to learn the subject matter so that you'll be able to use it in whatever comes next for you. So that I would add that to the procrastination. That just means you got the assignment done, but it does not mean you learned something.
Absolutely.
So we, as you know, included a short little survey from you all to see what students felt were their things that they would like to do or that they did to succeed in school. And I loved that people who are already students at STCC, the first one with the most mentions was using the tutors that are available at STCC. And there are lots of tutors available to help you. And they've increased the number of tutors, particularly since we're all online now. So again, if you have questions and you want some help, tutors are one of the best resources at STCC. And happily, students agreed about managing and being organized and somehow figuring out how to work into your schedule all the things that need to get done. Don't just assume because you want to get it done, it's going to happen. Third, again, asking for help. The fourth was getting involved. The fifth, rewriting notes. And then several people mentioned a couple of different ways to figure out how to break up their work into manageable bits. I wrote the word chunk on here because I used it previously, but they're like, if you have 100 pages to read, maybe break it up into 20-page units so that you can read it, go through it and understand it, and then move on. Knowing your goals and maintaining your determination, that's really important. And I think that's where if you know what your strengths are, it can help you build your resolve. The professors, thank you very much, but use the professors. That's what we are here for. We're here to help you learn. Turn off electronics and focus, whether you're online or you're in person. If you're paying attention to texting, which is quite frankly the one we see most often in class, then you think you're hearing what's happening, but you're not really hearing it. You need to focus on what you're doing. Use what's available at STCC through all the different services and supports, including TRIO and CAS and those kinds of offices. And then the last, I laughed out loud when I saw this because I didn't mention it, was check your syllabus. The syllabus includes, here's what you're going to be learning in this class, and they now should be including student learning outcomes, which tell you when you successfully complete this course, here's what you should be able to do and know, which is really good. And then it lays out a schedule and sort of it's your guide to the class. I then break up week by week in my online class, but each professor handles it a little bit differently, but all professors have a syllabus to guide you through the class. So that's what you all said, which were great tips. And I want to let you know that just by being in this session, you're well on your way to success. The fact that you signed up, showed up, and are paying attention to this, congratulations. So this is me to you for being in on this session. Pat yourselves on the back. You're doing great. So, Andrea, do you want to, I can't see the chat when I'm on sharing the presentation. So can you just tell me some of the questions that we got and Chelsea and I can field them?
So right now it's been mostly just comments, but if anyone has questions, they can certainly post them right now. If you have any questions for either Professor Diane Spotto or for Chelsea in the library or me. But at the moment, really, people are just commenting and agreeing and talking about, it's stressful trying to figure out your major and hate waiting for the last minute. And, Chauncey talked about being a student ambassador. We have a couple
Yep.
student ambassadors on here, and you should ask them for help too. And
Right.
they're going to have office hours. Let's see.
And can I throw in there for one other thing is that I know in my classes, and I don't know if it's true for everybody, but when you're on Blackboard and you look under course tools, there's a send email option. So if you want to be able to have a conversation with your classmates, that's a good way to try and reach them, is through the tools that are available on your Blackboard site. If you have discussion boards and you see someone posting that you're like, oh, that's interesting. And I almost always do group projects. And so I say, pay attention to those intro discussion boards and then how people's conversations are going. So when it comes time to choose your team, you feel like you know your teammates or your classmates a little bit. But that's a way to build some relationships in this weird time we're in.
All right, so we do have a question. Rosita had asked about more help with ideas for chunking her time. Let's see, chunking her work. She feels
Right.
she spends too much time on one subject and then runs out of time for others. So maybe you could address that. And then there's a
Yeah,
couple
and
more
that's
questions.
where, for me, because I am a plate spinner and I think I'm really good at doing multiple things, and I just am not. So I had to kind of put a rein on myself and I put it into my calendar, set timers and alerts. So try and say, I'll do one chapter in English, put it into a block of time, and then when that block of time is up, make a note of where you are, but move on to the next subject. And then chunk the next bit. So if you don't finish the chapter, then know when you're setting your goals or your chunks of time to maybe pick a little bigger chunk of time, a fewer number of pages to do. You'll help learn what your capacity is in the first week or two. Maybe you like to read meticulously. I personally am a scanner. I probably skip every other word because I've always tried to read fast. That's just how I am. But some people read every word and they want to sort of think about it as they're reading. So plan your time accordingly. Does that make sense?
I just want to add too that there are so many apps available to help you with things like this. I use an app on my computer called Be Focused, and it lets you it basically helps you to chunk your time.
Yep.
So it sets a timer like 20 minutes and then
Yep.
a 10-minute break, or 30 minutes then a 10-minute break. So there's other apps out there that do similar things, and others that can help you with time management and
Yep.
calendars and all that.
And I think it's really important to try and get the lay of the land, like do a whole week at once. Don't skimp on your personal obligations. Make sure you absolutely put in time for those first, then put in work if you have a job that has certain hours. And if you're working from home, I suggest you put in hours for working from home because it's even harder with all the interruptions that we have at home. Then figure out, what do I have to accomplish when I need to in school? Prioritize. It's like doing triage on your limited number of hours that you have. You're triaging it.
Hajar asked, she said she would like more help and resources for planning. Is there certain offices or resources someone can direct me to?
You're going to be getting from my, I just lost the name of it, myeducation.org. It will have a planning tool on there, but student support services, that's what they're there for. You will have an advisor assigned. It's a weird thing because of our contractual issues, but you'll have either an academic advisor through the advising office at the college or a faculty advisor. I would start with them. So it's nice to have a person to ask the question of, and then just hash out with that person what's going to work best for you.
That's it does anyone else have any other questions? Anything that's weighing you down, really getting to you? You're 2 weeks in. Are there things that are stressing you out besides the bookstore? Because we all know the bookstore's been a problem.
So please know, I have heard, and anything that happens these first few weeks of class, you are not the only person. So all the classes that I use a textbook in, I have had probably 1/4 to 1/3 of the students haven't gotten their materials because of the bookstore holdup. If I'm using online tools, About a quarter of the students have a problem accessing the materials. You're never alone. I expect that. So I like answering personally as much as I can, only because I think it helps students, but I'm actually going to put together, I think, an FAQ document because there's so many common questions, but I want students to know I'm here to answer you at the same time. But please know that you are not alone in anything that's going on with you when stuff blows up in the first couple of weeks. And you won't be docked credit in, well, at least in my class. I can't guarantee for everybody, but you know what I'm saying? And that's where, if you have open educational resources, the free textbooks, generally they're available online or as a PDF document. I use them in about 4 or 5 of the classes I teach. And I always hem and haw about what I'm going to use in classes. But when you use those, they're usually available immediately. So it's something to think about.
Rosita just asked, what if you are in a program and not quite happy? What are the chances of applying to another major, and can this turn against you at STCC?
No, you can change your major at any time. You actually can do it on the admissions office website as though you were applying. Because I've had students that started out when we used to have an entrepreneurship major, and 9 times out of 10, they'd say, well, I want to go on to 4-year school. So they're really in the wrong major. They should be in a transfer major. So you can change. What you will be able to do is log into your WebAdvisor account, look at your program evaluation as a what if, it's called. And you say, what if I change my major? And if you've taken any classes or had any transfer credits, it will plug them in where they work in the major you're looking at. So it's a what if program evaluation. So it's a good way for you to see what the program you're thinking about requires for classes and what you would get for credit for courses you've already completed. If you get stuck, just call the advising office at STCC. They can help with that, but it should not hurt you in any way unless you've taken a class that won't fit your new program.
Great.
Yeah,
I don't have, does anyone else have any other questions or comments?
I did see one comment from James that said, don't take on too much. And I think that this is something that probably should have been on my list. One of my favorite quotes, which is from my father, who is quite a character. He says, I'd rather have you mad at me than me mad at me. And really that's about not saying yes all the time to everyone. Like, it's okay to say no. If somebody's asking you to, help them move or hang out or do something you don't have time to do, say no, because they might get upset with you for a little bit of time, but you'd be more upset with yourself if you said yes and then had to sacrifice studying or something more important.
And there's actually places you can Google online that'll tell you how to say no. I would really love to help you with that, but right now I have to focus on my schoolwork because I'm taking 4 classes and working full time. So there's just ways to politely decline in a gracious kind of way. I will add to that there is not a time clock on your completing your degrees, certificates, or your program of study. The average length of stay in 2-year colleges is over 4 years. Maybe it shouldn't be, but that's what it is because it's the nature of community colleges. People have lives and work and a million things they're doing. I was working full-time with 3 young kids while I was pursuing my degrees with my head exploding. But you can only do 1 or 2 classes at a time, then that's all you can do. If you can take 4 or 5 classes, great. But know that there's no one saying you have to finish this in this amount of time except yourself. And that's where I think just take it easy on yourself a little bit if you feel like there's this immense pressure to get it done. We know you all want to get through it and finish. We're assuming that's a given, but there's not a clock on it. Chelsea's talking about going back in her 30s for a law degree. I never got my master's in education until I was in my 50s. So there's not a clock on any of this stuff. I think I've had 3 full careers in the course of my lifetime. So just embed yourself in what you're doing now, focus on what you want to get done. And then ease the pressure on yourself, because I think that you're harder on yourselves probably than anybody else is. So Andrea, I think you had some last minute questions, and we're gonna attempt a poll. So be ready. We're gonna do a poll. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Andrea's gonna do some wrap up comments, and then she's gonna do a poll.
Okay, so just a couple of comments. I know both of you getting involved. Of course, I am a part of student activities, and there's many of you out there that are a part of student activities. And, you know, I would just say, I look at all of you and say, you're all gonna graduate. So what's gonna make you stand out from everybody else around you is those other opportunities that you took advantage of at college, which are joining clubs and organizations, getting involved in different opportunities, attending events such as this, and really just making connections and that sort of thing. So I encourage you to get involved, to come to our events. Many of you may have received an email this week about being nominated for the National Society of Leadership and Success, NSLS. It's for real. It's a wonderful opportunity that we're offering to our students to join this honor society. And it's all done asynchronously. You can go out there and do it at your own pace. But what a wonderful opportunity to enhance your own personal skills, learn about your learning styles, learn about yourself, and enhance your resume. So check that out. Check out Blackboard. If you go into the course searches and you type in clubs, it'll list all the clubs that are available for you. We have tons of events next week. I'm going to put a plug in for Michael Miller. He is a fabulous, inspirational, motivational speaker on September 24th at 2 o'clock, a week from today. Please don't miss it if you can make it. I know it will be worth your time because you're going to walk away excuse me, with a smile on your face and feeling inspired and ready to take on the world, no matter what it gives you. And Lord knows we need that right now, right? So please do that. A couple housekeeping, that's my, plug for student activities. So, and a couple housekeeping things. Also, I know Diane mentioned read your email. In your email, every week you get a newsletter from Student Affairs. Read it. It has tons of information, resources. We have put a bunch of links in there every month. The beginning of the month, we put links in there, like things about how to learn about your learning style and stuff like that. So check out all that stuff. Check out, there's tutors from Trio. There's, walk-in times for the advisors. All that sort of stuff is listed in this newsletter. So just really pay attention to that. That's our way to tell you what's going on. Is your email and those newsletters. I know Chelsea sends out a library newsletter as well with lots of great information too. So please pay attention to that. I am going to send out a follow-up to all this, to all of you who attended. It's going to include the handouts, some of the stuff that Diane mentioned, the links, that those scheduling grids, and maybe a couple questions. But right now we're going to do a quick poll, and this is kind of just for fun. So we're going to see how this works out. I'm going to launch it. Take you about 30 seconds to do it. So if you could just answer this, I think you can check off. You should be able to check off more than one. If you can't, I'm sorry. We just wanted to try it. So give you about 15 more seconds to finish it up, and then we'll shut it down and we'll see what the results are. Oh, I know some of my student leaders have checked off that one.
Right.
Wow, look at that. It's kind of cool though.
It's fun watching it, right?
Yeah, it's very cool. All right, 5 more seconds and I'm going to shut it down. All right, so it looks like our top one was taking care of yourself, which
Can
is
you share
fabulous.
Results?
Can you? Oh, yeah. Sorry about
Share
that.
results so people
Am I
can
the only
see
one who
it?
sees it?
Can you see it?
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Cool, huh?
Oh, I love that.
Yep.
Take
That's
care of
good.
yourself. Yay.
Good job. Good job. And ways to take care of yourself, start doing some cool things like this and checking out this kind of stuff too. So thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for coming and hanging in there all the way till the end. I hope that you enjoyed this, and we're going to do some more different things like this for you. And very much so, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Diane Sabato and Chelsea Contrada for taking the time out of their crazy busy lives and schedule to come here and offer you these tips and do this presentation for you. So thank you very, very much. We truly appreciate everything you do on
My
campus
pleasure.
and here. So thank you. And we hope to see you again at more of our events. And if you have any questions, you can certainly email me at any time. I'll put my email in the chat and we'll go from there. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day and week and weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.